and welcome back to Birmingham Fan TV. This is the Bftv preview and review show, doing a 2-in-1 today, rolling in our review against Huddersfield and looking forward to our match against Sheffield Wednesday that at this time of filming will be tomorrow. Thank you to Boyle Sports for sponsoring the channel, and don't forget to please like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. It'd be great to hear you guys' thoughts, and a like tells us that you enjoy the content that we create. So looking forward to this week's episode. We'll be looking at the Huddersfield game and going over our thoughts about the performance. We'll be looking and talking a little bit about Craig Gardner being appointed as the new head coach starting the 2020 season. Gary Monk having a lot to say, something that's been released this afternoon. We'll be talking a little bit about that. And we'll be looking ahead to our fixture against Sheffield Wednesday, our team selection and our score prediction. So James, we're going to start by looking at the Huddersfield game. Mm-hmm. It was only our second draw of the season.
Yep.
What did you think actually about the performance though?
I think the result and the performance married together shows a little bit more resilience. I think we've shown that away from home we have been quite poor this season. Obviously shown we don't draw games that often. It's shown that we're a little bit too open. We either go and win the game or we lose it. Pep knew that we need to strengthen up a little bit. We need to be a bit tighter away from home. So I thought he did exactly that, and I thought that going away from home, getting a point, was a really good result, and I was really pleased with a team that were flying high at home. So yeah, massive.
Completely. So James, Camp was dropped, and Bella and Magoma were brought in as well as Connell Truman. What did you think about these changes and how they affected the game?
I think that they were the right changes. I think that Magoma especially, I've been calling for Magoma away from home to play on that left-hand side, and then Villalba be more of a luxury player at home who's got a little bit more about him. You can bring Villalba on, you can still do it, but defensively, Magoma, much better, stronger in the tackles, in everything, bringing the ball forward. Bella up front surprised me. I think Morabiti's so unlucky to be dropped, unless it was an injury, but I thought he did okay. Relatively quiet game. I think he's still going to have to adapt to the league. I think as we've seen with Sunjic, Villalba, Crowley, they've all had to adapt to the league again. Mm-hmm. So I think he did okay. Still more to see from him, I think. And the big one being Camp, obviously. Yeah, I didn't think he'd do it, but it was on a knife's edge. He could have done it. I think he went for it in the end. I was surprised. Even more surprised to see Truman come in. I expected Stockdale, considering he's not injured. It was a big surprise to me. But Connell did okay. I think that he never let himself down before last season. And again, he didn't let himself down. The goal wasn't his fault. He couldn't have done much more about it. So I expect to see him in goal Tuesday night.
Do you? Wow, fair enough. So going to quickly touch on the goal. 55 minutes, Fraser Campbell scored.
Always scores against us.
I was going to say, he's always got something against the Blues, hasn't he? But then what looked like a Mark Roberts goal was actually a Luka Jukovic goal on the 78th minute to bring it back to 1-1. What do you think we were lacking during the game to seal the win or to even allow that goal to go in?
No, finisher. I think that starting defensively, we were sloppy. We didn't get to the original pass, which was a fantastic ball, to be fair, in behind defence. Maybe the defensive line was a bit high, but that's how we're playing at the minute. Mark was caught a little bit off guard with the ball. Fraser Campbell's quick.
Yeah,
we know that. There's a little bit we could have done there, closing down the original pass and obviously being alert to the runner. But that's something they'll work on. It's bread and butter, really. They'll work on that. And going forward, that obviously, I'm delighted for Juki to get the goal. I still think he's not the option. He's not the answer as a whole, but we love him to pieces, and he deserves that goal for his effort. But I think that overall, we need another number 9. We need a finisher, we need a poacher, and we need a lot more composure in the final third as well from everybody. Not just Duke, not just Bella, Crowley, Magoma, Villalba, Sunjic, Bellingham. Bellingham wasted 2 opportunities as well. He needs to show a lot more composure. We know he's got it, but he needs to just put his foot on it, take his time, and pick his spot. And that's what Blues are lacking. He's a cool head in the final third.
Now I'm going to throw something that we actually said probably wouldn't happen back into the ring now. Shea Adams hasn't even been in the 18 for Southampton. It's now nearly Christmas. A few weeks ago it would have been, no, he's not coming back. However, 1, do you think it was the wrong time for Shea to go for his career? And 2, do you think there's a possibility of us getting him back?
I think that for his career, he needed to go. Blues did amazingly with the deal. in hindsight, 16 million for a guy that had only done it in one season. They took it at the peak. They did the right thing. He did the right thing. No one could have been blamed for any part of the deal. It's not quite clicked for Shea. I still think he's a Premier League player. But can I see him coming back? I could see an inquiry for him. I don't think he'll step down. Southampton might be slightly reluctant still. And I think the Blues want to move on and pursue new targets. I think that they want their own players in. I don't think they're too keen on loan players, as you've seen. Villalba's a loan to a permanent. Clark Salter was one of them. I think he could even come on a permanent at the end. I wouldn't see it happen. I still think they'll pursue other targets, but I'm not saying it's not going to happen. So
today we've had a great news for me as a big fan of him. Craig Gardner has signed a deal to keep him at the Blues, but he's going to be the head coach from 2020-21 season. What are your opinions on that, Jay?
Yeah, I think that Gard stepping into the coaching role has pretty much happened anyway. We haven't really seen him this season, which is a shame, really, because we've all been hoping for the last 3 seasons that he hits the heights of his 2009, 10, 11 seasons. He hasn't. It's a real shame because we know he's got it, and at times you see it in games. But it's the right time for him to step back. And I think he's done all right in the coaching role, to be fair. He seems, the boys seem to enjoy having him there. He's got a lot to offer the young players. He's a talented footballer in himself, so he can offer, again, that insight, that knowledge, that ability. And I think it's the right move for both of them. And I think to keep him at Blues, he'll love that. The club want to keep their assets, so they see him as an asset. So I think that overall, both parties will be happy with that one. It's just a shame that Craig can hang up his boots and we never got the best back out of him.
Wow, where do you start with today? Well, I best start after the Huddersfield game, I suppose. Last Saturday, a decent 1-1 actually. I think you'd have probably taken that before the start of the game. A decent start, but then Huddersfield, let's not forget, a Premier League side last year. Good players in that squad, decent at home, especially since Danny Cowley's took over. So to go 1-0 down and show that fighting spirit and character to get back and get a point from the game, whether it was Roberts or Duke's goal, officially Duke's, but a decent point nonetheless. And I think we should be pretty pleased with that going into the next tough away game on Wednesday night, away to Sheffield Wednesday. Gary Monk's Sheffield Wednesday nonetheless. And Gary Monk's had a fair bit to say today in his press conference. Very interesting thoughts and comments. It smacks a little bit like a bully who hasn't got his own way. Very surprised at some of the stuff he said, in particular the James Beattie, throwing him under, getting him involved, throwing Pep under the bus in terms of seemingly Monk's departure, questioning his loyalty and trust, which when you look at the Leeds fans' comments on the thread are very interesting to read, because they don't seem to think much of Gary Monk's loyalty. But in particular as well, not just Beattie as well, the dig at the title, the official title, interim caretaker head coach. Had to throw that one in there. Very, very childish. And I think it's done our team talk. It's done Pep's team talk for him. I don't think he needs to say much in the dressing room to the players before the game tomorrow. The fans that will be going tomorrow night will, I'm sure, have Gary Monk's comments very much firmly in the front of their mind as they go tomorrow night. But I think, again, a tough away game. Sheffield Wednesday are a consistent side. They've got players that have been there for a number of years now, 4 or 5 years. A stable outfit, and if you were being honest, they're 1 to 11, probably a mid-table to top half championship quality side. Very strong at home, even though they haven't won in 4 now, I don't think, in all games, culminating in that defeat at West Brom on Saturday. An interesting point to come out of Monk's press conference, which wasn't relating to Pep Clotet, was that Kieran Westwood, the goalkeeper, will be injured, so they're going to have to change their keeper, which might give us a a little bit of a boost. However, we've also got an inexperienced goalkeeper in, so I think it'll be a tough test. I think Monk is, especially knowing the way he played with us, and I think the way Sheffield Wednesday can set up with big, strong strikers, I think they'll want to test our defence as early as possible, as quick as possible. So we'll need to be ready for that. For me, I think if we get another draw, another 1-1 in readiness for the Saturday's home game against Millwall, I think I'd take that all day long.
Another piece of news today, I'm sure you've all seen it floating around the Twitter sphere. Gary Monk has had quite a few words to say. I've got a direct quote here from him. Not everyone has those values in their character. Some choose to pursue their own opportunities in the worst possible way. Now, what I can take from that is Pep stayed at Blues, Monk went, and Pep has taken Gary's job. That's how I've seen it. I know there's always loads of different interpretations, but I almost feel like Gary's a little bit bitter about the situation that happened at Blues. What's your take on it, and how unprofessional do you think that is of Gary?
Massively unprofessional. I'm sure he's angry, and maybe he has the right to be angry at something. Who knows? Football works like that, though. Football's a cutthroat business with backstabbing happens all the time, but I'm not saying Pep has backstabbed in any way. But Gary shouldn't be doing that. That's just wrong. I think that to mock his title at the club, to put him down for taking a job to further himself at an opportunity, that's wrong. Regardless of the scenario, regardless of how it's come about, it's wrong. And to do it in the manner he's done it as well, it's awful. Gaz has walked away with his reputation still half in peace at Blues. Amongst a lot of the fan base, it was still like, something's happened, we can see it, Gaz, we can't trust you anymore, but, you did a great job, thank you. Now that's gone, in my opinion, that's gone. I don't know how he expected this to play out with him going in front of the cameras and doing that. Did he expect us to go, oh, Gaz, we feel for you, we love you, all of this? No, rubbish, absolute rubbish. He's shot himself in the foot big time. And I think that, I think I'm reading Pep's interview that he's not done the same, he's not reacted. That's all he's got to do. Yeah. His team talk's sorted tomorrow. All he's got to say to the players is, look what he did yesterday. Go prove yourself, lads. I know it's not aimed at them, but that's slandering the club, it's slandering Pep himself, obviously, personally. And I think it speaks volumes that only one of Monk's 7 staff that he brought to Blues has actually gone with him. Yeah, completely. Who is he to talk about loyalty? Who is he to talk about that when his track record speaks very, very poorly? Jude Bellingham wouldn't be at this club had Gary Monk have stayed. That shows the friction and the cracks he caused at times behind the scenes. And I don't blame Pep for taking this role. Gaz clearly thinks that Pep almost, pulled the rope to pull the guillotine down on his head, and I don't think that's true. Gaz put himself in that position. Obviously I don't know all the facts. Nobody knows really all the facts, but something doesn't smell right, and Gary Monk to do that in a press conference. So let's forget about all that misery and let's look ahead at what we hope will be a very exciting game. So I'm going to go over a few stats, being stat lady on this channel. So Sheffield Wednesday versus Blues, we have won 38 games, that we have drawn 25 and lost 34. They all seem to be very even at the moment, don't they, all these stats? Yeah. The results equal themselves out over time.
Very true. So our last 5 against Sheffield Wednesday, we have won 3, drawn 1 and lost 1. So the last 5 being New Year's Day of this year, it was a 1-1 draw. Before that, we beat them 3-1 at home. Before that, we beat them 3-1 away. Yeah. Before that,
Steve Cottrell's finest game.
Yeah. Before that, we beat them 1-0 at home, and then before that, they beat us 3-0 away. So it is quite a nice fixture for Blues, isn't it?
Yeah, down the years. Other than the fact that before Steve Cottrell went there, Hillsborough's been a pretty unhappy hunting ground for Blues. I'm trying to remember the result. Obviously, 1-1 last season, of course. Yeah, that's a good result. but before that, previously, it's been a tough place to go.
Yeah.
I don't like going to Hillsborough. We just seem to struggle there. I remember watching us on the TV. I didn't go. I was in London watching us when we got beat 3-0 there. It was horrible, and you just expected it. But Blues have got enough to go there and get a result tomorrow. They have more than enough. But Sheffield Wednesday also have more than enough to really put us to the sword and to really pummel us if we don't turn up.
Completely. If I look over their last 5, they previously played West Brom and lost 2-1. Before that, it was a 2-2 draw at home against Swansea. Previous to that, it was a 2-1 away defeat to Blackburn. Previous to that, it was a 0-0 draw with Leeds. And then previous to that, it was a 1-0 win over Stoke. So in their last 5, they've won 1, drawn 2 and lost 2.
Sounds very much like a Gary Monk run of form, really. No, it's true. Monk drew a lot. There's 2 draws in there, and he loses a lot of away games. We either go to places, we get the odd win. We draw a lot. We lose. That was under Monk. It sounds very much like a typical Monk because he'll win a lot of his home games. He will, or he'll draw them. He won't lose them particularly that often. Look, they lose at West Brom. West Brom are going to go up this season, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
They draw to Leeds, good result. Was it win at Blackburn or win against
They lost against Blackburn.
Lost to Blackburn. That's surprising because I've not been impressed with Blackburn at all recently. But look, form is form. We look at our away form, it's still pretty dire, regardless of the draw at the weekend. That needs to change. They're still pretty good at home this season, and they're still sitting above us in the table. So,
there's something to aim for the Blues. They are currently in 9th place. Sheffield Wednesday, we are only 2 points behind them. A win could put us above them. Always a silver lining in a win
course.
and putting us further up the table. Going to highlight a few key players, which I'm sure you'll have an opinion on. Their top goal scorer is Stephen Fletcher with 6. And their top assist providers are Adam Reach and Barry Bannon, who play on the left mid and central mid.
Yeah.
They've got 3 each, so providing opportunities there.
Yeah.
Thoughts on all 3? What do you think about them, and how are we going to stop them from producing?
I think that Stephen Fletcher behind Duke is the best target man in the league. Behind Duke, I think if he plays to his strengths, he's just as good. But the thing is, with Fletcher, he possesses a little bit more pace, a little bit more agility, and he's lighter on his feet than Duke. He can actually run in behind. He can do that. So he offers different avenues, and I think Blues have got to be wary of his aerial presence first of all. And I think we've got more than enough with Pedersen, with Clark Salter, with Dean, with Sunjic, with Duke. We've got enough to master that. So we've got to watch the runs in behind. We've got to be careful. And that's what worries me, is because obviously we were caught out on Saturday by running behind. So, yeah, and as for the midfielders, they've got a lot of talented midfielders. Barry Bannon's ran the championship a lot of times in the last sort of 4 or 5 years. Very manipulative midfielder, diminutive. He's very much like a Dan Crowley sort of player. Quick on his feet, quick change of direction, can pick a very good pass out, and keeps things ticking over for him. And obviously Adam Reach has got a goal in him, a bit of a wonder goal every time. So they have a lot of ability in that Sheffield Wednesday, and for years they've had a lot to offer, but clearly have never found the formula since Carvajal left. So I think that they're going to be a massive test, and again, if we can come away with something, bonus going into the weekend. But yeah,
completely. So I'm going to go over their previous starting 11, and then I'll ask you for your starting 11 to combat that. So they have Westwood in goal, Palmer, Iorfa, Bonner and Fox along the back. Apologies if I can't pronounce them right. Hutchinson, and then they've got Murphy, Lee, Bannon and Harris, and then Fletcher up top. Jay, I want to hear your starting 11.
Well, thankfully I think Westwood's injured for this one.
That's always a good sign.
Yeah, so that's always good. I think they said that in the presser this afternoon. But I think there's changes afoot for Blues again. You've got to look 3 games in a week. I said it before the Huddersfield game, I'll say it again. Blues need to be careful not to burn people out, like Bellingham, for example. And you need to have a game plan away from home. We don't want to change the way we're playing. We want to be an expansive, quick, attacking football team, but we've got to do it in the right way. And we've got to have the right personnel for right games. That's a massive thing, to manage games. So I think there's changes. I don't see the back line changing, or the goalkeeper. I think Truman will keep his place. He's got, the manager said go out there and perform. He's got his chance now. He's got to grasp it with both hands. He did okay at the weekend. So we'll carry on. Back four stays the same. It writes itself. No changes there. Again, the midfield and the forward lines are where you have an issue. But if it was me personally, I'd go with a 4-3-3. I think that this kind of game is suited to that. I'd go with a midfield three of Sunjic, maybe Sunjic, David Davis, and Josh McEachran. A little bit of everything in there. A little bit of aggression with Davis and the legs, and he's got the agility to get up and down. You've got McEachran, who's got that ball playing ability. He can control the game, can push further up, can play as an attacking midfielder if he wants. And Sunjic as well sits in there, can do everything. So I think it will be a good balance as a midfield three, especially away from home. Maybe give Crowley a rest. And I don't like taking Crowley out of the team. But for Saturday, 3 games in a week, important game on Saturday that we need to win.
Yeah.
Take Crowley out, I think, just for a rest. Then you're going with... The wingers are a tough one. Everybody's saying Montero. I don't think he can start. I think he's a player. I think he's a player that impacts. Look, the last time we started him, he was out for 2 months. We need to be wary of what we're doing. Magoma will start on the left again for me. On the right, I'd put Bella out on the right. I'd play Bella on the right, Magoma on the left, and Jukovic up front. I think that I'd like to start Alvaro, but I just don't think he's going to be able to combat them. I really think he'd struggle. We need those options on the bench. We need Villalba, Crowley, Montero, Marabti. We need Marabti, in my honest opinion.
Yeah.
He offers something completely different to what everybody else offers. A little bit more, of a nuisance, shall we say? So, yeah, I'd go with a 4-3-3. I think it tucks into a 4 and a 4-5-1.
Yeah.
When you're defending, resolute. We can break with pace and we can cause them all sorts of problems. So that's just my opinion, but I think it would be a balanced team.
Yeah. No, guys, leave your opinions down below and let us know your predicted lineups. Be really interested to see all the opinions, because there's so many different ways that Blues could set up this tomorrow night.
Always a talking point.
Absolutely. So, Jay, I want your honest score prediction. Not heart, your head.
I honestly think... I think Blues can go there and win. I think if we set up right, and if the heads are right, and they don't lose their heads, we can go there and win. I'm going to go with a 1-0. I think Blues could go there and nick something. On the break, we've got players off the bench that can do it as well, if need be, if it's still 0-0. He's got to make the right calls, and he's got to make the right changes in the game. He's got to manage the game perfectly. But we do have the ability to go there. My head at times is also saying 2-1 to Wednesday. But people are moaning at me for being negative, so I'm going to go with a 1-0. And I think Duke will score. I just think he might silence some critics, i.e. being me one. But yeah, we'll see how this one plans out. But yeah, I'm excited for this one.
I'm going to go for a 2-1 Blues.
Interesting.
Just because I don't think that we'll be able to keep them out. But I think that hopefully I agree with your lineup and all that system completely. And I think with that system against the way that Monk plays, we could
rotates.
Do
you can play a 4-5-1.
Exactly.
You can play a 4-2-3.
It's
you can
flexible.
Play a 4-2-3-1. You can change it about however you want. It's so flexible. You've got to plan ahead. You've got to be adaptable in game.
So, 2-1 Blues for me, 1-0 Blues for you. Guys, what do you think? Let us know in the comments down below. Again, thank you to Boyle Sports for sponsoring the channel this season. It's great to have you guys on board. We will have a competition for 2 tickets against for our match against Millwall. So please follow our Twitter, follow our social media so that you can keep on top of that. Let us know your thoughts on today's video. And don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. James, anything else to say?
No, just hope for a good result, and then obviously we can kick on for Millwall.
Brilliant. Thank you guys so much for watching, and keep right on.
Thanks, guys.